This is Part 2, Episode 5. Multiple cracks expanded rapidly throughout the body of the huge lustrous elephant. The powerful aura of the huge lustrous elephant was being suppressed by the incredibly enormous ancient finger. The luminosity of the huge lustrous elephant began to weaken. At the area where the brain of the elephant was located, Li Xing's figure started to reveal himself. At this moment, his sneering face was replaced by a face of fear and astonishment. Apparently, he could not imagine that his heaven-smashing saint elephant was incapable of stopping Lin Dong's ancient finger. High-grade manifestation martial art. After he sensed the mighty and frenzied aura that was seeping from the ancient finger, Li Xing suddenly came to the realization that the Lin Dong's manifestation martial art was not a mid-grade one. Instead, it was a genuine high-grade manifestation martial art. Even though the two terms differed by only one word, the power disparity between them was like the distance between heaven and earth. How can it be? How can a filth from a tiny empire possess a high-grade manifestation martial art? Li Xing was bellowing in his heart, as he could not believe what he had just seen. High-grade manifestation martial arts were considered extremely rare even in his saint-light empire. It was something that even Li Xing himself had never possessed before. Therefore, when he saw someone like Lin Dong, who was from a small empire, actually possessed such a martial arts, his heart was naturally in turmoil. Snap! Crack! However, no matter how incredulous he felt, the incoming pressure was getting more and more terrifying. The huge lustrous elephant was covered with fine cracks and was about to collapse. How can a filth like you defeat me? Li Xing's face ashened while his eyes became bloodshot. Initially, he thought that Lin Dong would be an easy opponent, yet now, he was facing tremendous pressure from the latter. It was unbearable for someone who was proud and arrogant like Li Xing. Roar! As Li Xing's eyes turned bloodshot, an astonishing intense light erupted from the huge lustrous elephant. Apparently, it was trying to make a final desperate attempt. Humph! Lin Dong snorted coldly at Li Xing's all-out resistance. Suddenly, the former pointed out his finger, and that enormous ancient finger's pressuring aura began to surge again. Then, the ancient finger pressed against the huge lustrous elephant once again. Bang! As the enormous ancient finger continued to press down, the luminosity of the huge lustrous elephant, which was intensified a few moments ago, began to weaken once again. The cracks on the lustrous elephant's body became increasingly large. Finally, under the numerous bewildered stares from the onlookers, the lustrous elephant could no longer withstand the giant ancient finger's formidable pressure, and exploded with a loud bang. Terrifying energy storm swept across the mid-air. The huge lustrous elephant exploded into a sky full of glittering lights that eventually rained down gracefully. Vomit. In the midst of the rain of light, a battered figure shot out before he violently spat out a mouthful of fresh blood spat. Then, the figure landed forcefully on the ground. He finally steadied himself, after leaving a few kilometers of track on the ground. This moment, all the gazes shifted abruptly to the sorry figure on the ground. A deafening silence then swept through the onlookers on the city wall as their faces were filled with shock and disbelief. That was because the battered figure was Li Xing. The Saint Light Empire's elites in the mid-air were dumbstruck at this scene as well. Their facial expressions changed drastically, especially Xia Huang, whose arrogance was thoroughly replaced by intense fear. He could not believe that Li Xing, who was a peak manifestation stage elite, would lose so miserably to a mere advanced manifestation stage practitioner in Lin Dong. He actually won. Mo Ling and the rest took in a breath of cold air as exultation swept across their faces. They were right in their predictions. Lin Dong's hidden abilities were too well concealed. On the city wall, Lin Langtian watched gloomily at this scene. The power of Lin Dong's great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger was getting increasingly powerful. He knew that, if it was him under the ancient finger, he would definitely be wounded. After all, his great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger was far too powerful. In mid-air, Lin Dong stared indifferently at the blood-stained Li Xing. The frantic energy fluctuation in his body had yet to weaken. Senior Li. At this moment, the Saint Light Empire's elites returned to their senses and flew down hastily and appeared beside Li Xing to help him up. Right now, Li Xing was in an extremely sorry state. Not only was his entire body covered with bloodstains, his hair was unkempt and his aura was feeble. Apparently, Lin Dong's ancient finger had wounded him severely. After those people helped Li Xing, the latter then used his hand to wipe off the bloodstain on the corner of his mouth while his body was shivering non-stop. His eyes were surging with madness and malevolence. Filth, Do you think you can defeat me just like this? Members of the Saint Light Empire, listen to my commands. I want all of you to beat this filth to death. Like the roar of a wild beast, Li Xing's bellow of rage resounded through the air frantically. At this moment, Li Xing no longer dared to fight against Lin Dong by himself. As long as he could kill Lin Dong, he was willing to use any means necessary. After Li Xing bellowed his commands, a dark green elixir pill appeared on his palm. He then put it in his mouth and swallowed it. Immediately, his enfeebled aura revitalized once again. It appeared that this guy had a lot of tricks up his sleeves. Li Xing's roar had caused a commotion on the city wall. Those elites, who initially sided with the Saint Light Empire, were secretly backing off now. Upon seeing Lin Dong's capabilities, they did not have the courage to take action. Else, if the Saint Light Empire was to collapse, they would face a miserable outcome as well. Upon seeing the lackluster responses from the people on the city wall, Li Xing was so angry that he spat out blood. However, he also knew that these opportunists were unreliable. Immediately, he then muttered gloomily, "Set the Saint Light formation. Today, I will this living filth beg for his own death. Senior Li, why don't we retreat first? There is something weird about this lad, and his fighting capabilities are extremely powerful. We will go to the Yang city where Big Senior is located at and we will ask for his help. Then, it will be very easy for us to kill this lad." One of the Saint Light Empire's elites said. That was because Lin Dong's fighting capabilities had created goosebumps on their skins. I repeat, set the Saint Light formation. There are a total of 8 manifestation stage elites here. If we can't even handle a filth like this, how can we face Big Senior? Li Xing said eerily while his tone was filled with a berserk killer intent. Yes. When they heard Li Xing's eerie words, the Saint Light Empire's elites shivered with fear as well. They then clenched their teeth and moved their bodies, before they settled into their respective positions with Li Xing at the heart of their formation. Thus, an abstruse formation began to materialize. Li Xing, does the Saint Light Empire have no sense of shame? Mo Ling and the rest yelled angrily while the joyful looks that appeared on their faces previously had disappeared upon witnessing this scene. Winners are crowned while losers are vilified. Only fools will care about the morality of strategies used. Li Xing sneered as he looked malevolently at Lin Dong, who was in the mid-air. Set the formation. As Li Xing yelled out his command, intense radiance erupted from the bodies of the other 7 advanced manifestation stage elites. The radiance emitted from each elite began to extend and connect with each other. Boundless and powerful yuan power waves were created and started to undulate. The intensity of such energy waves was incapable of any further increase. As Mo Ling and the rest sensed the energy waves, their facial expression changed drastically. How could anyone beneath the Nirvana stage withstand a powerful formation that had 1 peak manifestation stage elite and 7 advanced manifestation stage elites? Brother Lin Dong, let's leave this place. Mo Ling and the rest looked at each other, and then yelled in the direction of Lin Dong. Given the current situation, it was impossible to continue staying in this place. You want to leave? Not so easy. Li Xing smiled eerily while the blood stains on his face made him look like a devil. Then, as he changed his hand seal, the entire sky surged with rays of light. Within seconds, the sky became an enormous light screen that enveloped the heaven and earth and blocked off Lin Dong's escape routes as well. Saint Light Formation, purifying heaven and earth. The rays of light coagulated in the sky and eventually became a gigantic sacred light pillar. Within the light pillar, there was a terrifying energy undulation. It was as if all living things in the world were about to be purified. Lin Dong, it's too early to celebrate. Now, prepare to die. Li Xing gave Lin Dong a psychotic look, and then laughed wildly towards the sky. Then, with a flip of his palm, the sacred light pillar that contained the yuan power of 8 men shot out instantly. Accompanied by an irrepressible force, the earth-shattering light pillar pierced through the air and blasted towards Lin Dong. As Lin Dong saw this, his eyes flickered. However, even when he faced that formation attack, which contained the powers of 8 men, he did not show any signs of retreating. Instead, under numerous stares from the crowd, he took a step forward and shouted towards the sky with an ice-cold voice. "Since you still have hope, I shall destroy it thoroughly." As he finished his sentence, a formidable devouring power erupted from Lin Dong's body. The yuan power between heaven and earth gathered in his body with an astonishing speed. As the yuan power gathered in his body, Lin Dong raised his finger and pointed it towards the sky. When Lin Dong pointed out his finger, a bloody mark formed at his fingertip, before droplets of blood began to fall. Great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger, fifth finger move the universe. As the inexhaustible ancient voice echoed through the sky, the blue dome of heaven ruptured and the universe moved. All the yuan power in this domain raged, while streams of potent yuan power continuously gathered above Lin Dong's head. Thanks to that terrifying shockwave, even the heavens began to tremble. Such a formidable attack caused everyone to be in awe. It was very hard for them to imagine how Lin Dong could use his advanced manifestation stage ability to execute such a terrifying attack. Boom! Lin Dong jutted out his finger, while fresh blood continuously dripped off his fingertip. Based on this sight, it seems like even Lin Dong's powerful physical body could not withstand the might of this finger. As fresh blood dripped down, the space above Lin Dong's head was suddenly ripped apart. Immediately, a large finger slowly broke through the air. When that large finger appeared, an ancient and vicissitude aura immediately permeated the entire domain. Countless pairs of eyes stared in bewilderment at that giant finger that was breaking through the air. Compared to the previous 4 fingers, this one seemed even more refined. In fact, there were no traces of savage yuan power ripples undulated on its surface. This large finger gave off a lifelike appearance. The sensation was as if it was not formed from yuan power, but rather a genuine finger that came from the past. That giant finger was approximately several hundred meters wide, and it was considered massive to most ordinary people. However, for no particular reason, when this giant finger appeared, everyone felt something missing in their hearts. After they furrowed their brows and contemplated for a moment, they finally realized that this large finger was not complete. In fact, accurately speaking, it was only half a finger. It was in fact half a finger that came from the past. Right now, even though it was only half a finger, when it appeared, the entire heavens seemed to tremble. It seems like its aura instantly exceeds the sacred light large formation set up by Li Xing and the rest. I bear no grudges against you. If you do not offend me, I shall not offend you. However, if anyone offends me, I will make you pay 100 times in return. Lin Dong stared coldly at Li Xing and the rest, whose facial expression had also changed. Then, his icy-cold roar ricocheted across the entire domain just like thunder. Boom! Just as Lin Dong spoke his final word, he viciously swung his finger down. Instantly, the skin on his fingertips tore apart, while fresh blood spurted forth. However, at the same time, that half finger that came from an ancient land suddenly descended. Bang! When this half finger descended, the ground below seemed to crumble instantaneously. Several large cracks quickly extended out. Its aura was extremely terrifying. Meanwhile, that large half finger directly flew towards that powerful sacred light glowing pillar. This sacred light attack was filled with Li Xing and the 7 others' full strength, and there was hardly anyone below Nirvana stage that could counter against it. However, just because there was hardly anyone doesn't mean that there is no one. Everyone near the city wall watched tensely, while they sucked in a breath of deep air. Eventually, 2 extremely destructive attacks finally slammed together, just like 2 meteors. Dong! The instant that collided, the entire universe seemed to have started trembling, while an extremely resplendent glow erupted forth, and directly lit up the entire area within a 100-mile radius. Everyone was enduring the blinding light shining in their eyes, as they stared at point of impact. However, the stalemate that they expected did not materialize. Instead, all they saw was a near unstoppable destructive force. In front of that godlike finger that came from an ancient land, even Li Xing and the rest's combined attack could not threaten that lifelike half finger at all. Bang! That clash lasted for mere seconds, before that powerful sacred light glowing column began to crumble as the crowd stared in awe. When they saw those cracks emerging, terror finally gushed into Li Xing and the rest's faces. They had never expected that even after combining 7 advanced manifestation practitioners' strength, and having a peak manifestation practitioner launch the attack, it was actually swiftly destroyed by Lin Dong. Right now, Li Xing finally understood that this peasant that he callously claimed to be from a tiny empire, was actually this terrifying powerful. However, right now, it was already too late. Boom. That gigantic sacred light glowing pillar was unable to withstand the terrifying shockwave contained within that half finger, as it directly blew apart in front of the crowd's eyes. A terrifying energy shock wave swept forth, a storm raged in this domain. Dust and rubbles flew everywhere, and even that sturdy city wall was shaken by this impact. Everyone standing on top of the city wall quickly activated their yuan power, as they tried to stabilize their body. That energy hurricane swept forth, while Li Xing and the rest, who were right in front, instantly turned pale, before they vomited out mouthfuls of fresh blood. Their aura seemed to have dropped to its lowest point. Don't do it. We are members of the Sacred Light Empire. If you kill us, it will lead to severe problems in the future. Our big senior is in Yang City, and he is far more powerful than Senior Li. He is an enemy that you cannot defeat. At this juncture, all the overbearing elite Sacred Light Empire practitioner were finally crying out in fear under the threat of death. It's too late to say those words now. Lin Dong was hardly moved by their words. After all, he could barely form this 5th finger, and he was not certain if he could call it back. Furthermore, even if he could do so, he would not bother. All these trainings over the years made him understood that if he spared those fellows, they could continuously cause trouble for him in the future. If he wanted to completely solve this problem, he must be cruel and vicious. A kind-hearted man would not survive in this ancient battlefield. If you want to blame someone, blame the fact that you followed a useless senior. As that giant finger filled with destructive force solemnly descended, the entire ground seemed to crumble. When they saw that Lin Dong had no intention of sparing them, Li Xing and the rest's expressions drastically changed. Promptly, they quickly activated the remaining yuan power in their body and formed a glowing shield. Stopping a car with a bug's hand. When he saw this situation, Lin Dong chuckled. After that giant finger descended, that glowing shield seemed to have no impact at all as it completely disintegrated. Meanwhile, the terrifying force contained in that giant finger finally descended upon Li Xing and the rest. Bang! Thanks to that terrifying force, 2 advanced manifestation practitioners were instantly ruptured into a bloody mist. Lin Dong, you will definitely regret this. How dare you kill members from the Sacred Light Empire? In the future, your outcome will be worse than a dog. Fresh blood seeped out from Li Xing's paws as he venomously growled. Big Senior will not let you go. You can't escape and your outcome will be several hundred times worse than ours. Boom. Just as Li Xing's venomous growl descended, his entire body was unable to withstand that terrifying force as it blew up with a loud bang. The entire earth seemed to have turned silent instantly. Everyone stared at the elite Sacred Light Empire practitioners, who had all been blown up into a bloody mist, before they started to tremble uncontrollably. With 1 finger alone, a peak manifestation practitioner, as well as 7 advanced manifestation practitioner, were blown up till their corpses did not remain. Their expressions were filled with respect and fear as they stared at that figure hovering in mid-air. His actions let everyone to understand that the man in front of them was no kind-hearted Buddha. If you offend him, no matter what your background is, he would show no mercy at all. Mo Ling and the rest stared at that dent on the ground, while they involuntarily gulped. After all the elite Sacred Light Empire practitioner were blown into a bloody mist right in front of their eyes. On the city wall, when Lin Langtian saw this sight, his expression turned exceedingly grim. He knew that even if it were him, if he faced Lin Dong's 5th finger, even though he had help from the mysterious Yuan spirit inside his body, he would still be severely wounded. Right now, Lin Dong's battle potential had completely exceeded his. When he thought of this point, the killing intent in Lin Langtian's heart swelled up. Currently, after such a massive battle, Lin Dong was spent and it was the best time for him to make a move. Just as a killing intent flowed in Lin Langtian's heart, in mid-air, a slightly pale Lin Dong waved his palm, before a suction force immediately gushed out. Instantly, 8 Qinquan bags flew towards him. Since these guys came from Sacred Light Empire, they must have pretty decent possessions. Therefore, Lin Dong was naturally going to keep those as his battle spoils. After he snatched away all their Qinquan bags, Lin Dong's attention turned towards the city wall. When they saw him turning to look at them, the crowd on the city wall immediately retreated. It seems like no one wanted to be targeted by him. As the crowd retreated, one figure stood still. However, his expression was exceedingly grim, while a rich killing intent flowed in his eyes. Lin Langtian, there is no need to hold back. Even if you do not make a move tonight, I will not let you go. As he stared at that figure, a similar killing intent flowed in Lin Dong's eyes. With regards to this opportunistic bastard, he hated Lin Langtian much more than the Sacred Light Empire's practitioners. Regardless, tonight, he must get rid of this thorn in his heart. This video will end here.